I don't think we have a problem with business. We've been working very closely in partnership with business on our policies throughout the whole of this Parliament, which is why we had Mike Wright, the Executive Director of Jaguar Land Rover, for example, looking at manufacturing supply chains for us. It's why at the moment Graham Cole, the Chair of Augusta Westland, he's looking at export support. We had Sir John Armitt, one of the most respected people in British business, do an infrastructure review for us, and we're now going to implement his recommendation of having an independent infrastructure commission. So all along the way, every month, we've been working very closely with business, ultimately to grow our economy. That's the common challenge, the common goal that we all have.
And is that what you want? You want business to prosper under a Labour government? Because sometimes when, not so much you, but the Labour leader talking about predatory capitalism, talking about caps on profits, gets the sense that he doesn't really get that you have to create the wealth before you spend it, whether through taxation or otherwise.
Of course, it's absolutely crucial that you have your economy growing, because any discussion as to how you distribute things more fairly is very academic. Look, I'm really clear. I want people...
And does that mean people getting richer?
We want to help people make their first million, because that's good for our economy, because they will employ people, and they will make a contribution to the exchequer. So people enjoying the rewards, but also it's good for our economy, is my and our position, and that applies to businesses big and small. And of course it's our bigger businesses who really can get our reach into those global markets in addition to their supply chain. So there are common goals there. Now, I'm not going to sit here, Adam, and say to you that there aren't people in the business community, whether it's in the energy sector, in banking, housing, who have issues with some of the policies that we've proposed. I think whenever you're proposing change which challenges the status quo, of course there are going to be people whose feathers are unruffled by that. But I think one thing that there is a consensus on in business is that, you know, the same old way, business as usual, is not necessarily going to take this country forward into the future, and that we need to reform our business model so it's more long-term, we have more long-term investment, if we want to make sure that Britain pays its way in the world in the future.
How do you feel about the rather surprising allies that Labour appears to have acquired? Boris Johnson echoing Ed Miliband and saying, well, the boss of booze should pay his taxes before he starts criticising, or indeed John Redwood saying he should pipe down.
Well, I'm not surprised by that. And, I mean, look, there will be people who have comments on policy, and that's all well and good. I think in respect of Mr Pacina, because he made some quite strident comments, very personal comments actually, about the leader of the Labour Party, and sort of kind of put that forward to the British people as a view on our leader, we had to respond to that. I actually find it's actually very unusual for a senior business person seeking to get involved in party politics, or, if you like, to get involved in the rough and tumble of political debate. They usually will confine their remarks to policy. Now, I mean, Stuart Rose is somebody who has made a few comments today, but of course Stuart has crossed the floor, if you like, from business into politics. He's a Conservative peer. He was given his peerage by the Prime Minister David Cameron. But on the whole, business people don't really want to get involved in party politics. They'll work with whichever party is in government.
I mean, there are rules about political donations. Do you think actual party political comments should have to get approval from boards before business leaders make them?
Well, I think as a board director, you have to consider what is in your shareholders' best interests. And I'd say that it's good for any board to have a good relationship with all the parties, frankly, because, you know, we could all, you know, depending on what the electorate decides to make, could be in office. And I think in the interest of that company, it's good to have good relations. And I think there's a win-win there. There's a win-win for the people in government, because they can really understand what is it the business needs. But also, if you want to, you know, be able to communicate quite candidly what it is that will help your business, it helps if you've got those relations. So I'd say it's in the shareholders' best interest that you're not seen as partisan, and that you can get on with whichever party happens to be in government.
And is it fair to say, though, that this Ed Miliband Labour Party going into the election in 2015 is less pro-business than the new Labour Party was in 97 or 2005?
No, I disagree with that, not least because actually actions speak louder than words. And ultimately, the biggest issue at this general election for business will be whether or not the party in government is going to ensure that the UK remains a member of the European Union. And we're the only party that is absolutely fully committed to that. They know that in many respects it's not necessarily the politically most convenient position to hold, but they ultimately know that a Prime Minister, Ed Miliband, will want to keep us in Europe, and that is the best thing for the British people, but of course it's the best thing for British business too. And that's their principal concern at the moment.
Thank you very much.